Pete Hegseth met for the first time yesterday with a Democratic senator on Capitol Hill. Donald Trump's pick for defense secretary spent the last 2 weeks in Washington talking to Republicans. Yesterday, though, he sat down with Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Before the meeting, Senator Fetterman told CNN he's just doing his job, advising consent, and that he'd never heard of Hegseth before Trump picked the former Fox News host and military veteran to lead the Pentagon. Here's what Fetterman had to say after their conversation.
Create space, guys. Create space. Create space.
I'm not really sure that, like I said, there's not really a new thing. We had a conversation, and that's part of the process. And that's the thing. I'm going to listen to what my colleagues on the other side continue to say and how they evaluate.
Hey guys, create space. Create space. He's going. Are you considering voting for him?
You know, so it's just like it's a conversation.
Tough to hear, though, there, Caddy K, but Senator Fetterman basically saying this is not news. This is our job. We bring them in. We have a meeting. It doesn't mean I'm voting for the guy, but I'm going to give him a fair hearing like I would anyone else. What do you make, though, just more broadly? That's one Democrat. There'll be others. Senator Fetterman keeping an open mind broadly about the process that we're talking about here, which is that Republicans, though they were able to run off Matt Gaetz, it appears they're having a little more trouble, at least for the moment. There's still hearings to come, and there'll be much more in this process, finding their conscience about some of these picks.
Well, briefly on Fetterman, it shouldn't be news. I mean, if the system was working perfectly, then senators from both sides would meet the candidate of any president. But it is news, of course, because he is the only Democrat who has met with these proposed candidates from Donald Trump. So that in and of itself, he knows this. It makes it news. He also knows he's up for re-election in the election cycle in which Donald Trump will have just finished his first term in office, and in a state in which Donald Trump has just won. So there may be a whole load of motives going on there. You're right that it looks for the moment like this week, at the end of this week, very different from the end of last week, Donald Trump's nomination picks seem to be in a stronger position than they were this time last week. We were surprised that Pete Hegseth made it through the weekend. I've been told there are lots of different machinations going on. Senator John Thune, the incoming Senate Majority Leader, is having kind of discussions about how he can play kind of checkers with the senators, give some of them the opportunity to say no to one pick, but not have any of them have to say no to more than one pick. But at the moment, until this process starts, I mean, I think we have to slightly ignore this process at the moment, because some of the signals we're getting as we're going around the corridor being followed by reporters is different from what will happen when we actually have the hearings. And with Trump, you always have to kind of go with what is happening, not with what is being said. And once we sit down and these hearings start taking place, that could be the moment at which you start to see some of these senators say, okay, we are going to find ways that some of us on some of these picks are able to get enough cover to vote no occasionally, and occasionally may be only once.
And at the end of the day, will they vote against Donald Trump? Will they cross him? Historically, the answer has been no. We'll see.